What if I told you that by sports betting with an edge, I have already made enough profits in the year 2023 to fund a vacation that I'm taking later this year to Alaska? Because that is exactly the truth of what has happened. I'm recording this at the very end of March, so the year is only 3 months deep. But literally in these 3 months, as I mentioned, I've already made enough profits to fund a trip later in the summer to Alaska. So let's chat about it. And first, let me provide some proof. So I'm going to show some screenshots here taken directly from my bet tracker. The bet tracker syncs directly with sportsbooks, so there's absolutely no fudging these numbers. Every single bet that I place is being tracked on this bet tracker. Let's look at the months. January was my best month by far. I was up $6,000 in January alone. Of course, with the highs comes the lows. February was my worst month by far, but I still was at least up money. I was up just under $500, as you can see on the screenshot. Not great, we'll get into this, but a lot of rough days in February. But to end the month in the green, we will take. And then, of course, there was March, the month that we are currently in. Still a couple days left sports betting in March, but as of the time of this recording, up $4,400 in March alone. So if you add all that up, total profit in the year 2023 to now, $10,800, all because I've been able to sports bet with an edge. So in this video, I'm going to detail my sports betting strategy, hopefully make it so it is a strategy that can be enacted by any one of you that is watching this video. To give a little bit of background about myself, my name is Matt Modi. I'm a content creator and also a betting analyst for OddsJam.com. Prior to joining OddsJam, I've been here a little over a year now. My full-time job, just a normal Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 job, I was a data analyst. So finding a company such as OddsJam that takes such a mathematically data-driven focus towards something that I'm passionate about, sports and sports betting, was a perfect home for me. So I've used those skills to become a profitable sports bettor, and hopefully through these videos are helping people like you become a profitable sports bettor as well. Before I get into the nuts and bolts of everything, I would appreciate, for those of you watching, if you could like the video, give me a comment, let me know what you think, both good or bad, what I could do better next time. All that stuff is super helpful. And then of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is a couple months old by the time this video is being posted, so still on the ground up, trying to grow this thing as big as possible. So anything you can do to subscribe, like, comment, helps me out a ton. You can also find me on social media at my Twitter handle, Jedi Modi. Nice little shout out to Star Wars there, but a link to it is in the description as well, where I post a bunch of some nonsense, some picks, some betting education stuff, hopefully stuff that you guys find helpful. But let's get into it. So I mentioned that I did this by sports betting with an edge. Now let me detail that part specifically a little bit. And what I mean by sports betting with an edge, all I'm doing here is I am positive expected value betting. I am placing bets that I know are mathematically profitable and have an edge over the sportsbook that I'm placing the bet with. So in a little bit, I will share my screen in detail how you can use the positive expected value betting tool that I use to make all of these profits. But first, I do just want to detail briefly what positive expected value betting is. So the literal definition of positive expected value betting is when you are placing bets that you know as the sports bettor are going to hit at a higher rate than the reflected odds that the sportsbook is offering. Now, I know that sounds like a total mouthful, so I'm going to say it again and then I will detail it. It's actually not that complicated. But again, what we are doing is we are placing bets that we know as the sports bettor is going to hit at a higher rate than the reflected odds that the sportsbook is offering. All that really means is we're placing bets, let's pretend that we know is going to hit at a 55% rate, but based on the odds that the sportsbook is offering, it only needs to hit at a 50% rate in order to break even, and any number above that 50% and you will be making money. So again, we know it's going to hit at a 55% rate. We know that as long as it hits anywhere above a 50% rate, we will be profitable. So that 5% gap is where your profitability comes from. Now you're probably wondering, okay, well, how the heck do you even know what the chances are of a bet hitting is? And also, how do you know, like, what does all this reflected odds, all this 50% crap mean? So I'll detail that. Number one, how do we know how often a bet is going to hit? So what OddsJam does, and again, I'll share my screen in a little bit to walk you through the tool itself, is it pulls odds from the sharpest sportsbooks in the world and then uses them to basically price markets for current betting opportunities. Basically saying, okay, if these 5, 7, whatever sportsbooks consistently do the best job at pricing odds, we're not going to try to price odds better than the sportsbooks. Instead, what we're going to do is figure out what sportsbooks do a good job at pricing odds, historically tracking this data, using historical betting opportunities to make this determination. We'll collect all the data from the sharp sportsbooks, and then we'll see what they have odds priced at. And if we can get better odds than these sharp sportsbooks, that is what is going to be profitable. So if you kind of think about it from a holistic view, kind of start to finish, OddsJam back-tested thousands and thousands of betting opportunities, previous one, historical ones that have already been played, and then use that data to determine what sportsbooks consistently do the best job at pricing odds, and then use those sportsbooks to set the market moving forward. So if there's a situation where like a DraftKings, a FanDuel, whatever, is giving us better odds, and when I say better, I just mean like higher payout, better for us, the person placing the bets. But if we are getting better odds on one of those sportsbooks than what the sharp sportsbooks are pricing a bet at, well, that's going to be something that's profitable in the long run. So let me share my screen and walk you through the OddsJam Positive EV betting tool. So here is what we have on the screen. Positive expected value betting tool on OddsJam. A couple of things to note just to read how the tool works. This number on the far left here, the percent, is your percent edge over the sportsbook, the actual calculated percent edge over the sportsbook. The event is whatever game the bet you're placing is in. The market, and this is where the important stuff is the actual market that you are betting. So in this case, points, rebounds, assists. The bet is the actual bet you are going to take. And we know that this is the bet that we're going to take because it's bolded and it's highlighted. So that's saying like, hey, this is a sign. Hey, bet me. Bolded text, highlighted, bet me. Books is giving you the odds of the bet you're placing as well as the book. And then the most important thing are these no vig odds you see here. So all of the odds you see in this column, the no vig odds, these odds are what are pulled from the sharpest sportsbooks in the world. So basically, like if we're pretending that there are 5 sportsbooks that are consistently the best at pricing odds, consistently do the best job, what OddsJam does is say, okay, these are the 5 sportsbooks. Here are what their odds are priced at. Let's remove the vig, which is just the juice that sportsbooks price odds. It's essentially a tax, but it removes the vig from those sharp sportsbooks and then uses a weighted average to calculate the no vig odds. So when I said at the beginning that we know that the bet we're placing is going to hit at a higher rate than the reflected odds the sportsbook is offering, this is exactly what I meant. These odds are how we know what percent chance a bet is going to hit. So all you need to do if you're ever confused, okay, well, what is the percent chance? All you need to do is just click this little calculator here and it tells you the win percentage. So something that I find fascinating, and it might only be fascinating to me because I'm kind of a math nerd, is that all odds have a win percentage reflected in those odds. So basically, OddsJam is calculating, okay, the no vig odds are priced at minus 108.73. That equates to a win percentage of 52.09. And then what you can do is find the implied odds of the bet you're placing and what percent that equates to. It's very easy. All you need to do is hover over calculators, go to odds converter calculator, and then type in the odds of the bet you're placing. In this case, minus 105. So minus 105 means that if it hits at a 51.22% rate, you will break even. This is your break even number. Any number it hits above this number, again, 51.22%, you are profiting. And we know based on the no vig odds that OddsJam is telling us this is going to hit at roughly a 52.09% rate. So the gap between these two numbers, the probability gap, is where your profitability comes from. Basically saying that the sharpest sportsbooks in the world are telling us this is going to hit at a 52.09% rate. But we can place this bet at BetMGM at minus 105 odds, which means we only need to hit at a 51.22% rate in order to profit. And you place as many bets of these as possible and that's something that will be profitable in the long run. But that's exactly how the OddsJam positive expected value betting page works. And this is the tool that I've used the most to find these profitable bets. So now that we know what positive EV betting is, and that's what I've used to make all these profits to literally fund a vacation to Alaska, how can this be you? How can we apply this information to you? Number one, and the most important thing that you can do if you are a brand new sports bettor, you need to figure out your bankroll. And when I say bankroll, I mean you need to figure out how much money you are comfortable dedicating towards sports betting. You need to know what that number is. And even if it's a smaller number, that's okay. When I first started with OddsJam over a year and a half ago, I started with a $500 bankroll. And I've quickly grown that to the bankroll that I have now at $10,000. So I've been able to use my profits to, starting off, increase my bankroll, and then started using those profits just for fun. Hey, I'm making a big purchase. Guess what? Let's see how much profits I've made, and I can use that to buy this purchase, and it's no skin off my back. It's all profits. So if you're watching this and you have a smaller bankroll, don't be discouraged. What you first need to do is figure out what that starting bankroll is and then use those profits to grow. So if you profit $100 in your first couple weeks, well, increase your bankroll by $100 and slowly do that until you are at a number that you feel comfortable keeping as your max, and then you're good to go. But one thing that you do need to know is that unfortunately in this world, it takes money to make money. So the only reason why I've been able to profit so much to go to Alaska is because I've slowly built my bankroll to be at an amount where I can profit enough to do that. So bankroll management, understanding how much money you're comfortable dedicating towards sports betting, very, very important. And then if you are not currently an OddsJam user, guess what? You can sign up for a free trial. The first 7 days are completely free. So I definitely recommend, if you are in that 7-day window, use this time to basically educate yourself, invest in your sports betting education. What you can do is check out a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel, the strategies that I use to profit, and then apply those to yourself. So basically you use the 7 days to start using OddsJam, learn how it works, how to navigate the tool and whatnot. And then while you're doing that, watch the YouTube videos, educate yourself, and then you'll be ready to profit. But what I will say, there are a couple concepts that you need to understand while you are starting out. Number one is variance. So I'm going to show a screenshot again here of my month in February because that was my worst month by far. Now I ended in the green, which is good, but just look at how bad some of these days were, right? In like a 6-day stretch, I was down 5 of those 6 days. Some days I was down like an aggressive amount, down 1K, 1.2K in a 6-day stretch. It's brutal, but that's kind of the nature of the beast. Variance is a very important concept to understand in sports betting. At the end of the day, sports are unpredictable. If we could literally predict the outcome, the exact outcome, they wouldn't be exciting, right? The whole excitement is watching it and seeing the Final Four that consists of Florida Atlantic and San Diego State, right? Stuff like that. So you need to understand that variance is a very, very important part of sports betting. High highs, low lows. And then you also need to understand something called the law of large numbers, which is basically just a concept saying that the more bets that you actually place, the better, because you're just giving yourself more bites at the apple and you're letting your edge work out for you. Now, if you only place 2 bets a day, even if they're really, really good bets, you could just get unlucky and have those 2 bets lose. But what if you place 30 bets in a day? Well, there's a much better chance that you're just letting the edge that you have work out in your favor. So again, sports betting, 2 really important concepts to understand as a beginner. Number 1, variance. Number 2, the law of large numbers. But that's pretty much it. Positive expected value betting has changed my life and has enabled me literally to fund certain vacations like going to Alaska. And this can be you too. It's actually not that complicated, right? You just need to understand how the positive EV tool works, understand a little bit about the sports betting landscape, and this could be you. So hopefully this video was helpful. If you have, again, questions, feedback, positive, negative, whatever it may be, please let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, helps me out a ton. Hit me up on my Twitter handle that you see on the screen here. Again, a link to it is in the description of the video as well. And that's it. So again, I appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.